Everyone, how's it going? This is going to be a quick video. I'm not going to waffle on. I'm not going to drag it out. I'm just quickly going to get to the point. Um, this is regarding a little back and forth I had with a guy in Adam's chat the other day when Flatzoids were on. Shout out to Adam and Flats. I'll link both the channels in the description. Let's get straight to it. This was peer review come up. Nah, it's not the first time I've heard these arguments. Obviously, it won't be last. All glory to Christ. Show me a peer-reviewed flat Earth affirming study. Literally one. All glory to Christ. Yeah, peer-reviewed studies is generally how science works in terms of documented evidence. Laughing face emoji. All glory to Christ. But of course, you'll think that there aren't any peer-reviewed studies, not because they disprove flat Earth, but because Illuminati pay to not have them released, so it doesn't dispel the illusion. Laughing face emoji. All glory to Christ. Peer-reviewed studies is literally how we have access to some of the best medicine to cure millions of illnesses. Laughing face emoji. You know, it's so crazy how people just blindly parrot, because this isn't the first time I've heard this. I mean, in flat Earth community, we got this parroted to us day in, day out by ballers, silly ballers who don't even know what they're talking about. And clearly you don't know what you're talking about either. All glory to Christ. You know, just because you hear something and or the establishment tells it to be true, don't make it true, mate. You need to start looking into things yourself. It's sad to me that, especially Christians, if you are, mate, are caught up in the world and believe the things of the world and the things that men tell us. You know, that's not what Bible tells us to do. Reminds me of this verse. Just get it up. It is Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Be not conformed to this world. You know, we're in it, but not from it. And be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing of your mind. Learning, understanding, discernment, knowing what's true and what's a lie. So that reminded me of this video that I uploaded 3 years ago. Let's have a listen.
What is science? People talk glibly about science. What is science? People coming out of a university with a master's degree or a PhD, you take them into the field and they literally don't believe anything unless it's a peer-reviewed paper. It's the only thing they accept. And you say to them, but let's observe, let's think, let's discuss. They don't do it. It's just, is it in a peer-reviewed paper or not? That's their view of science. I think it's pathetic. Gone into universities as bright young people, they come out of them brain dead, not even knowing what science means. They think it means peer-reviewed papers, etc. No, that's academia. And if a paper is peer-reviewed, it means everybody thought the same, therefore they approved it. An unintended consequence is that when new knowledge emerges, new scientific insights, they can never ever be peer-reviewed. So we're blocking all new advances in science that are big advances. If you look at the breakthroughs in science, almost always they don't come from the center of that profession, they come from the fringe. The finest candle makers in the world couldn't even think of electric lights. They don't come from within, they often come from outside the breaks. We're going to kill ourselves because of stupidity.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. People are destroyed for lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge.
Right, and to finish off, since you brought up medicine and peer review, let's have a look what the National Library of Medicine has to say about peer review. Titled Peer Review, a Flawed Process at the Art of Science and Journals. What is peer review? My point is that peer review is impossible to define in operational terms. An operational definition is one whereby if 50 of us look at the same process, we could all agree most of the time whether or not it was peer review. Peer review is thus like poetry, love or justice, but it is something to do with a grant application or a paper being scrutinised by a third party, who is neither the author nor the person making a judgment on whether a grant should be given or a paper published, but who is a peer. Somebody doing exactly the same kind of research, in which case he or she is probably a direct competitor. Somebody in the same discipline. Somebody who is an expert on methodology. And what is review? Somebody saying the paper looks all right to me, which is sadly what peer review sometimes seems to be. Or somebody poring all over the paper asking for raw data, repeated analysis, checking all the references, and making detailed suggestions for improvement. Such a review is vanishingly rare. Does peer review work and what is it for? But does peer review work at all? A systematic review of all the available evidence on peer review conclude that the practice of peer review is based on faith in its effects rather than on facts. But the answer to the question on whether peer review works depends on the question: what is peer review for? And the defects of peer review. So we have little evidence on the effectiveness of peer review, but we have considerable evidence on its defects. In addition to being poor at detecting gross defects and almost useless for detecting fraud, it is slow, expensive, profligate of academic time, highly subjective, something of a lottery, prone to bias, and easily abused. So there's your peer review, mate. Stop parenting nonsense. Stop conforming to the things of this world. If you're a believer in Christ, believe God, not men. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks for watching.